Congressman Tom Marino, Republican from Pennsylvania, and CBSN political contributor Leslie Sanchez are here with me. Congressman, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Let me ask you, before we get into the comments that Donald Trump made to the New York Times,
Sure.
What do you want to hear from him tonight?
I want to hear more of what he's going to do to make this country great again. And I know that I've gotten some comments or lines from the speech, and I know that's where it's going to be headed. That's what people are concerned about in this country. They're concerned about their future for their children. They're concerned about their jobs. They're concerned about the borders. And there's been a wave, and he's convinced many millions and millions of people in this country that he's the person that can change this and make the country great again.
Leslie, who does Donald Trump need to reach out most to tonight? There's been a lot of talk this week about unifying the party. What we saw a little last night, we could clearly see. We just had Kevin Sheridan here, who was the communications director for the Romney-Ryan campaign, saying that, the party's not fully unified yet. It's going to take some time.
It's going to take time and some comfort level. It's certainly putting together cogent ideas in terms of where he wants to go on economic policy, talking about tax cuts, these national security issues. Stabilizing some of that message is important. But let's not forget, he is looking at those swing states, and Pennsylvania definitely being one of them, putting that state back in play, looking at that very competitive battleground map that he's changing. The Ohio, the Wisconsins, the folks that are feel very affected by trade. I think you're going to hear a lot of that consistent message and get his folks excited and start looking at that contrast between what he's offering for the future and what you have in the past.
Congressman, Hillary Clinton has been mentioned more times by the speakers on that stage than in many cases Donald Trump. Clearly, this crowd does not like Hillary Clinton, and that's part of what is helping to unify the message here at the convention. And I wonder, sir, we've heard a lot about Benghazi. Benghazi is mentioned every single time somebody gets up there, but we've not heard a lot about the troops that are currently serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. They must be sitting here watching this convention and wondering, have we been forgotten? I haven't heard that much.
Well, they haven't been forgotten. And every time I get an opportunity, and I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about that, I've been over there several times with our troops. And I tell my kids on a weekly basis, if it weren't for our veterans and for our troops, they wouldn't have the life that they have. So first and foremost, we have been saluting our troops. We do it in prayer before we start up meetings. We haven't forgotten about our troops, and they have our backs over there. We have their backs here.
All right. Last night, Congressman, you said that Senator Cruz let his ego get in the way in his speech last night.
Yes.
Explain that for our viewers.
I was disappointed. I was asked early in the morning what I thought Ted was going to do. I said he's going to show the American people he's the man that he is, and he's going to endorse.
You thought he was going to endorse?
I thought he was going to endorse. But when he came out in the first line, he said, "I want to congratulate Donald Trump for getting the nomination." I knew from that point on it wasn't going to happen. So unfortunately, he let.
That shows you how. That's why I'm not a political insider. I was waiting until the very end.
But you know something? This election isn't about Ted Cruz. It's about the American people and what Donald Trump is going to do. So when you go back to my hometown of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, by the way, the home of Little League World Series baseball.
All right, shout out, yeah.
In my district, people aren't concerned about what Ted Cruz said. People aren't concerned about a speech at the other side saying it was plagiarized. I wonder if they're going to ask the people who spoke last night and quoted the Bible and the Constitution if they plagiarized also. They're concerned about their children's future. Are they going to have jobs? Terrorism, and where's going to be the next terrorist attack in this country? They're sick and tired of being sick and tired of the establishment, whether that's the Republican side or the Democrat side. And I am so excited about that. This is my first convention, and I'm so excited to see the people out there that have come out. And there's a movement here. It's a populist movement, and they're telling the D.C. Elected officials and the insiders, we run this country, not you. We put you in, we can take you out.
Absolutely. There's a sense from the delegates that I've spoken to, the reporting that our reporters have been doing on the ground, on the floor of the convention, that people here are calling this a movement, Leslie. They are saying that this is even bigger than just one man. This is people feeling finally that they're going to have a voice represented in Washington.
Very true. And I do have a question for the Congressman, regarding that, so Donald Trump, if he did get into the White House, how do you think he would be able to work with the Congress? I mean, do you think that the Republican members at least are going to come on board? He did have a bit of a frosty engagement when he went up there recently. Do you think that there's going to be more of an ability, especially now with Mike Pence, to get some legislation moving?
I really think that's going to happen a great deal because of Mike Pence. But remember, as you well, I'm not telling anybody something that they do not know. The president calls the agenda. The Republicans can control the House, and we control the Senate. We hope we're going to continue to do that. And there's a new breed of us. I came in with the 112th class, 88 of us 5-6 years ago. And there's a new breed. I'm a term limit guy, so that can tell you where I stand. And we're going to do what's right for the country. That's our first and foremost responsibility, what the American people need. And they sent us there to change D.C. I don't care what the establishment says anymore. They're not important anymore. It's what the American people, the hardworking taxpayers, are telling us this is the way it's going to be.
Congressman, Donald Trump has a 62% unfavorable rating from registered voters in your state of Pennsylvania. That's according to a recent NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. What about his message isn't getting through to your constituents?
His message is continuing to get through. First of all, I don't look at polls. We're several months out from an election, and that's a lifetime. But no matter where I go, not only in my district, but in the state, and Pennsylvania is a Democrat state. It's a union state. But I have coal workers, steel workers say to me, frontline hotel workers say to me, we're voting for Donald Trump. These are Democrats. Pennsylvania had 170-some thousand people drop their registration and register Republican, and we have more people registering that didn't even vote before or haven't voted for a while. So, you know something, I constantly see the pollsters are continually wrong over the last 10 years I've been watching pollsters. And you know what they don't do? They don't get out and feel the pulse of the hardworking taxpayer.
Congressman, and Leslie, you can speak to this as well, because we've talked about this ever since Donald Trump announced his candidacy. At the end of the 2012 election, there was an autopsy report that was done for the Republican Party, one that said, look, if we're going to be able to win a national election, we're going to have to do a couple of things. And one is include more minorities, reach out to Hispanic voters, African-American voters. Donald Trump has tapped into something, and a lot of people feel that it is this resentment that the America that they knew, there's a nostalgia for an America that doesn't exist anymore, and some have started to call it white identity politics. Is that the direction the Republican Party is going? Because if that is the direction, overwhelmingly Donald Trump is going to have to win an overwhelmingly number of white voters.
You know, that's the left calling that. Come on, Donald Trump has employed more Hispanics. He's employed more African Americans. In my district alone, we have a great many of Hispanics who are working in Pennsylvania and picking crops, working in construction. He's created jobs, and people know that.
I don't dispute that. He has employed people of all races and creeds and religions. But what I'm saying is that on the campaign trail, he has called for things that people have interpreted as either being misogynistic or racist or anti-religion. And Leslie, as somebody who has been very active in the Republican Party, trying to bring in Hispanic voters to the party, how is he going to be able to reach out to them if he's talking about some of the things that are not in their interest?
Sure. Part of it is that they're not mutually exclusive. His idea talking about a Washington that doesn't work, that is not serving individuals who are trying to move up the rung on the economic ladder, that's a message for anybody, male, female, whatever, proclivity you have. The challenge is he has said some things that are, as you've mentioned, are highly toxic and basically destabilize efforts that we have made and inroads within communities of color. Bringing them back into the fold is going to require a lot of leadership, a lot of inclusion, and a direct intention to do that, because without intention, it's going to continue to be the message as usual.
All right, Leslie Sanchez and Congressman Tom Marino, thank you so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
Great to have you on CBSN.
Leslie, it's a pleasure being with you.
Likewise.